sorry, a fucking message came up there. Has a message. Stretch comes to Tupac with a message with E-Money Bag saying that Jimmy Henchman and them other the other people, the A-Team, King Tut and all them, says you go to war, you got to have your money right. If you want a war, then get your money right. So Tupac obviously thought, why is he sending messages for the enemy? So that's when Tupac probably, at the end of the day, man, Tupac's head's going to be fucked up. He's just been shot and just been put to jail for a crime he ain't committed. I mean, his whole world is fucked up. I mean, Tupac's suicidal at this point. Like, really wanting to kill himself. And Mutulu Shakur is saying, don't worry, it's coming, your death's coming. You don't have to kill yourself. They'll take you out, go out like a man. And Tupac was like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. But Tupac made this Vibe interview with the Vibe guy, Kevin Powell, and basically accused like Jimmy Henchman and Haitian Jack and them what, and kind of like put Stretch and Biggie and said some bad words like they had something to do with setting him up. Now, I don't understand the mind frame Pat was in at that time. I don't think he was in a good state of mind and thinking clearly. So that's when he kind of like accused Stretch and Biggie and all that. But this is the twist, and a lot of people don't know this. Why Pac was mad at Biggie, the real reason why Tupac was mad at Biggie was because Biggie did an interview for Vibe, the same magazine, months later, saying that Tupac only got shot once and he was faking. So that way, because Tupac wanted to leave rap, he wanted to get out of rap. He got married in prison to Keisha Morris, and he wanted to get away from rap. But then in Vibe, Biggie and Stretch and Puffy and all them were saying bad things about him, saying he only got shot once, just the same as Dexter Isaac's story. And that really pissed Pac off, and that made him fucking really pissed off. And that made him reach out. And obviously while he's in jail, the first artist ever to make a #1 album in jail, one of my favourite Tupac albums, Me Against the World, classic album. A lot different from his albums to come. So that's the Tupac shit. Now I come to like summer of 1995. Suge Knight, I think he's getting in contact with Tupac, and Tupac over Keisha Morris and Snoop or someone says that Tupac needs to come to Death Row, and that's just because Interscope won't have nothing to do with him. His record label was like washed the floor with him. So Interscope, I think it's Jimmy Iovine, says you got to take Tupac's too wild. We can't, all these cases, we can't control him. So the only guy who could control Tupac was Suge. So Suge starts seeing Tupac, and why this is happening, I think Puffy has a relationship with the Southside Crips through a guy called Zip. And Zip has a drug connect that's from the Southside Crips, which is Keefy D. Now Keefy D is a shot caller for the Southside Crips, a major gangster. He's the main gangster. He's making millions. He's a big time gangster. And obviously he's uncle to Orlando Anderson, which I'll get into that later. Try not to make this too long. I'm trying. It's just a story that is just very interesting, compelling for me. So I just want to try and cover it, highlight as much as I can. Oh yeah, and this time, obviously, the Eazy-E thing happens. And they cover that big time. Now, I don't know if Eazy got injected by AIDS. Very suspicious how Eazy-E is alright, according to people around him, Like Bone Thugs and Harmony, that rapper. What was that rapper who did Real Motherfucking G's? He's done interviews for that Russian guy. Trying to think of his name. He was on Real Motherfucking G's. BJ Knockout. Yeah, he was with Easy all the time. So he's saying that Easy showed no signs of any fucking AIDS, HIV symptoms or anything, and he had bronchitis, and suddenly, within a month or a couple of weeks, he goes from having bad symptoms where he collapses and starts really coughing badly to full blown fucking AIDS. Now, if anyone, I'm not an expert on this, but if anyone knows anything about AIDS and shit like that, that don't usually happen. It usually takes years to happen. But in the book, they say you could have, you don't see the signs straight away, and it can just pop up or whatever. So that's what they're saying in the book. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on that one. Either Suge Knight or someone in Jerry Heller, maybe Tamika Wright, or someone injected Easy with AIDS. I'm very suspicious, or it could have been natural. But yeah, Easy died of AIDS. He made up with Ice Cube before he passed. He brung out the group Bone Thugs and Harmony that made some classic music, and yeah, I mean, Easy, man. Fucking, that was a big death for rap when Easy died. So Easy's, I think Dre, actually, I'm not sure, and straight out of Compton they say that they talked, but according to the book and according to other people, Dre never made peace with Easy, but he went to the hospital while Easy was dead. So we're going on to 95. Back to the Suge Knight stuff. Suge Knight, I think, is getting a bit, because Suge Knight knows about Keefy D and grew up knowing Keefy D and knew he was from a rival set, the Southside Crips, and Suge was affiliated with the Mob Pyrus, and Suge was like, why are you doing security for these guys? Because Suge and Puffy, Death Row and Bad Boy were cool, but when he saw Keefy D and the Southside Crips hanging around with Bad Boy Records, they hung around with a couple of concerts. I'm not sure if this was before the Source Awards or after it, but the flame was lit. That's all I can say. And at the Source Awards, obviously, Suge Knight made that infamous speech. If you're new to this, you're not. I'm not going to go through it because a lot of people who studied rap, and it's all over Netflix and the internet, what Suge Knight said. And basically it was towards Puffy, and it was in New York. So that's really what sparked. It didn't spark the East West. There was no such thing as the East Coast West Coast, in my opinion. The media just blew that out of proportion. But you got at the same time, Tupac was getting out of jail, and Suge Knight was going to sign in Tupac and got his release, and Tupac had problems with Puffy as well. And that's 1 month before Tupac got out of jail, Suge's best friend, a guy called Big Jake, got shot outside a club in Atlanta, and it's believed that he got shot by one of Puffy's hitmen, the straight up gangster from Harlem called Big Wolf. Big Wolf was no joke, some really tough street gangster guy who shot Big Jake after a row or something. People say that Orlando Anderson was there. I'm not sure about that. You never know. So a month afterwards, Tupac gets out of jail, and obviously at this time, Biggie, like I said, is on top of the fucking world. I mean, Biggie took over the whole shit. It was West Coast fucking from the Chronic till 94. 95 was Biggie's year. Biggie was the biggest thing. But when Tupac got out of jail, he brought that shit straight back to the West. I mean, soon as Tupac got out of jail, he made that double album in 2 weeks. He was making 5 songs a day. He was just a guy on a fucking mission. He was angry, but at the same time very focused. And people can say what they want. Tupac went downhill on death row, but the thing is, man, the music that he made while he was with that company was the best. He was on top of his lyrical game. Lyrically, he was better. Professionally, he was better. He seemed a lot more mature, to be honest, if you watch his interviews while he was on death row. But yeah, he got in with the Mob Pyrus and Suge and everything like that. Him and Suge were very tight, because Suge did something for Tupac, getting him out of jail when no one else would. I mean, Tupac was rotting in jail, in Rikers and then in Clinton. And these are really tough prisons, and there was rumours that Tupac got raped in prison and all that shit. I mean, Tupac, he had to get out of jail. He needed to, and Suge Knight was the only guy who could do it. And bloody hell, man, when he got out, he just fucking nailed it. And just going on a bit off the topic, that's when the Dog Pound album came out, Dog Food, and I consider that a 5-star classic album with Daz and Corrupt. That album is a classic. That's the first rap album I actually ever bought. I just saw it on the I think I was in HMV, and I think at the time, because I'm young, it was like when 50 Cent and that was rapping, 50 Cent and The Game. I was like, oh, I kind of like rap, and Eminem. And then I just looked on the day and I saw these 2 black guys and thought, fuck it, I'll buy that album. It's the Dog Pound Dog Food, fucking classic album. Anyway, Tupac gets out, does California Love, fucking the classic. West Coast is back on top. Tupac took Death Row. Death Row was massive to begin with, absolutely massive. But Tupac took Death Row to a whole new level, to a level it's never been before. Tupac, there's something really special about Tupac that Suge saw in him. He was a workaholic. He brought that work ethic to Death Row, and he was knocking 5 songs each and every day out of the park. And obviously, Dre and Snoop were kind of like put to the back burner a bit, because Pac was the star. When Pac got out of jail, he was the main star of Death Row. And another interesting fact is MC Hammer joined Death Row at the same time. You can't touch this, can't touch this. MC Hammer joined Death Row. So Death Row had a roster, and they were recruiting new artists, recruiting Craig Mack, Mary J. Blige, Bone Thugs and Harmony, people like that. So Death Row was was huge. It was taking over. It basically took over all the major record labels like Interscope, Time Warner, fucking Columbia Records. Death Row was the fucking biggest black record label of all time. The most money they made, not through music, obviously. Suge Knight was into some shady shit. But Pat was was reading books like Machiavelli and Sun Tzu. So Tupac was very smart, because he All Eyes on Me, he doesn't diss Biggie or Bad Boy directly. He waits, because what it is he's waiting for his album to blow the fuck up. Once Tupac's blown the fuck up, then he starts on the attack of Biggie and Puffy. And why this is happening, Snoop Dogg turned to 96. Snoop was on trial, the verdict for his murder. Snoop gets off after like 3 years of agony for Snoop, thinking he's going to go down for life. Snoop gets off his trial and gets found not guilty, and they have a big celebration after that. And then Snoop obviously is back in the studio, and it's Snoop and Pac instead of Snoop and Dre now. I mean, Dre did about 2 songs with Pac. But Dr. Dre at this time leaves. Now, the reason is, in my opinion, is because he had this girlfriend. Nothing to do with because he didn't like Death Row or anything like that. I don't think it was anything to do with that. What I think is that Michelle A, that singer, he's got that he's got that quacky, quack voice, you know. Michelle A, basically, was fucking Suge Knight and had Dre's baby mama. That's what they call it. But had a baby by Suge, so Dre was pissed. Like, Michelle A is cheating on my business partner because Dre's 50-50 with Suge. So I think Dre got pissed off by that. And obviously Tupac coming and taking over a bit because he was the main star. And that's just the way it was. Tupac was just a genius. So, but I think the main reason is because of Michelle A. Because Suge Knight was fucking Michelle A. and Dre. Michelle A was cheating on Dre for his business partner Suge. So I think Dre was like, fuck Suge, I'm out of here. And Dre left with fuck all. His 50% didn't mean shit. He's like, and there's a good reason, really, and it's the best decision he ever made because of what happened down the line. Because Dre made a very wise decision. I mean, a peace of mind is much better than having a lot of money. You can't put a price on a peace of mind, and bang on with that. Definitely. So, good move by Dre. Maybe not at the time it wasn't, because Tupac was fucking taking over. All Eyes on Me came out. Tupac was on top of the fucking world. Snoop just got his trial. And Tupac didn't like the fact that Dre left. He thought maybe he didn't stick up for Snoop in his trial and was being disloyal to Death Row. And, you know, he was making songs with Nas and other East Coast people. And Tupac was, at this time, Tupac was going at anyone from the East that was affiliated with Biggie. So anyone, and was Snoop's enemies. Because there was one incident, actually I'll go through two incidents. The first incident was Snoop was in New York doing a video called New York, New York, Big City of Dreams, and everything in New York ain't always what it seems. That song. And they're in a trailer, I think in the Bronx or Harlem. The scene in the snow, and during the trailer, I think the bodyguard, Tupac's main bodyguard, Frank Alexander, was there. Biggie goes on the radio and says Tupac and the Dog Pound are in New York filming videos. I mean, why is New York letting this shit happen? This is bullshit. They're kicking, you know. Oh, I think that's after. But they edited that video after. At first, they didn't actually kick down them buildings, according to the book. It was after they came back, after Snoop's trailer got shut up. That's when they edited the video, and that's when you see Snoop, Daz and Corrupt kick down them buildings. At first, that wasn't the intention. That intention was just to make that song. But yeah, Biggie thought Tupac was there, so he took offense because it was the middle of the beef. So whoever heard that was like, Biggie's like, someone do something about it. So any knucklehead from New York or anyone could have been like, right, we know where they're at. Let's fucking some fucking gangster guy who don't give a fuck come and shut up the trailer, and Snoop nearly fucking, and the Dog Pound, Nate Dogg, Warren G, and all of them nearly fucking died. Frank ended up saving them. And then there's a Christmas party where this guy who directly involved with Puffy is I think he's doing a promotion, a promotional tour. He's not really plugged into what's going on, how serious things are getting between Death Row and Bad Boy. But Puffy knows that Mark Bell, a guy called Mark Bell, is affiliated with Puffy and does shit for Puffy. So they take him upstairs. There's this wild Christmas party, like bitches everywhere and all that shit's going on, and takes him up to his room. According to the book, the Mob Pyroos are in this room he takes him up to. He basically sets him up, lures him to this room. Tupac's in there. Dr. Dre is in there. And They shut the door, and then they basically tell Mark Bell why you're there, give up Puffy's address right now, or we're going to severely fuck you up. And that's what they did. The stories, you know, his Mob Pyru guys beat the shit out of him. Suge took part in the beating, Tupac took part in the beating, and Suge pissed in a glass. And there's lots of stories of Suge doing that, pissing in glasses and making people drink it, but that's what he did to Mark Bell. Pissed in the glass and made him drink it. So at this time, Puffy's like, this Suge is really for real. This Suge Knight really wants to kill me. I mean, you know, so Puffy's scared. She's fucking scared as fuck of Suge Knight. And then get to an award show. There's an award show. I think it's what award show is it? The Soul Train Award 1996. To get to that award show. And Tupac's dressed in army fatigue. Biggie gets there first. Biggie goes out to LA. And Bad Boy did their stuff first. Biggie performs and all that. And then Tupac comes up with Suge in a red Hummer. Tupac and Suge are like, let's rush the stage. If Biggie's there, let's rush the stage. And everyone knows who's the staff at the Soul Train that night knows that there's big, real tension going on between both camps, Bad Boy and Death Row Records. So they tell Pac and Suge they can't get in at the moment because Bad Boy's in there doing it, and they'll let him in once they've left. So Bad Boy end up leaving through the back, but Death Row end up spotting them, and fucking Suge fucking put his foot down on the gas, on the pedal, goes through a gate, the rest of the entourage, and then Tupac gets out, and it's the first time that Tupac's seen Biggie since the shooting in Quad, and Tupac's like, fuck you, motherfucker, and fucking you did this, West Coast, whatever, like, really, like, Tupac, from Biggie, what he said is, Tupac looked like Bishop, like, he had that wild look in his eye, like, there was no turning back, he was really serious, like, just really serious, and he wanted to really get into it with Biggie. One Bad Boy guy, they said it was Keefy D, the Southside Crits were with him, Keefy D. I've heard two different stories about this. Puffy ran, according to his bodyguard Eugene Deal. Puffy ran, and someone, whether it was Keefy D or one of Biggie's henchmen, Biggie's main man called C Gutter, big Muslim motherfucker, got out a gun, and then Tupac, I think, gets a gun and was ready to go have a shootout, but then I think the Nation of Islam get in between them. Anyway, it's like there's no turning back really now from this. Tupac's for real. He really wants to fucking fuck Biggie up. And there's other stories like in Atlanta and New Jersey, and Tupac and the Mob Pyrus are like following Biggie about, like actually following him to hotels. And when Biggie went out to LA again, he needed Southside Crits to protect him because the rapper called E40 tried to kill him while he was out there because he said something about E40. So Biggie was hated on the West. At the same time this is happening, Pac's making 5 songs a day. He's making music that'll last a lifetime, and he comes out with Hit 'Em Up. Now at the same time, it's alleged that Puffy, obviously he definitely has hired the Southside Crits for protection, but he's saying to Keefy D meets him at Greenblatt's and says he wants Suge Knight's head. Basically, he wants to kill Suge Knight, and Keefy D kind of laughs it off. But then they have another meeting, and Puffy says it's for real, according to Keefy D, £1 million. And Tupac just comes with a song called Hit 'Em Up, and that pisses Puffy off more, because he basically is like the most vicious diss track that you're gonna have at that point in rap. Hit 'em up. So Tupac is fucking, you know, cussing out everyone. Mobb Deep, Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie, the Fugees, fucking everyone who's done anything with any of his enemies, Tupac's going at him. Tupac, and this time though, Tupac's doing movies with Tim Roth and did gang related. He's doing a lot of things. He's trying to start his own company, his own movie production company, and just doing music videos and 5 songs a day. Like, he's really just fucking, like, I don't know what he's, you know, how he did it. Like, he's just a fucking workaholic. And he's fucking so many bitches. I mean, Tupac with women. He had so many women. There was one video on How Do You Want It where he fucked all them porn stars on the video. I mean, I'm not fucking a fag or anything like that. But Tupac is a, you know, for a woman, obviously, Tupac's a good looking guy. You know, he doesn't even have to be famous. He's a good looking guy, so obviously he can get any woman he wants. That's why it's bullshit why he would rape someone. Because, you know, Tupac had a lot of women. You know, a lot of women was always around Tupac. And he was very popular with women. And he was very respectful to all the women. So, basically, this is what I think really fucked it up. Tupac was doing One Nation. So he got some rappers out from New York and was trying to kill this. Tupac was trying to kill this East West Coast shit because it was all media hyped. Tupac had rappers from New York, like big, you know, if you had a Smith and Wesson, they were big rappers out of Brooklyn, and the Boot Camp Clique, and other rappers Tupac was working with. He was doing stuff with the Outlaws. They were like his family. Snoop was doing the Dogfather at that time. I mean, but on the streets in summer '96, Suge Knight, one of Suge Knight's goons called Trevon Lane, gets into it at a Foot Locker in South Central Los Angeles with Southside Crips, and one of them Crips is Orlando Anderson. Now there's stories about this where they say basically there was a bounty put out on the chain for £10,000. I mean $10,000 in America. And Orlando ended up taking that chain. There's another story that he didn't. He tried to take the chain but didn't. That's a story, but a lot of people, other people say that's bullshit. That there was no such thing as a chain or anything. They just got into a fight. It was just a regular gang fight or whatever. Well, that set the stage for what happened. And what happened, you know, I don't want to go too much into it, but we all know what happened. Tupac, Trevon saw Orlando. He's the same guy who allegedly took the death row chain. And Tupac, the way he is, very loyal to his team. I don't think Tupac weren't leaving Death Row Records. He started his own production company called Euthanasia, but he was not leaving Death Row Records. He was starting Machiavelli Records, but it was under Death Row Records. Like Death Row Records was under Interscope. Like G Unit was under Aftermath. And Shady Records were under Aftermath. You have to have a distributor. And obviously Tupac was loyal to Suge. There's no evidence there that Tupac and Suge were falling out or anything. I know that there's a story of Tupac and Snoop falling out because Snoop said something on the radio that he had no problem with Biggie, and why this is happening, Snoop is dissing Biggie with Tupac, you know, all the time. But they go out to New York, and I think it's 3 days before Tupac gets shot. Tupac's in that really slick, posh grey suit. And you can tell they're not on terms. I see an interview, Snoop's like really quiet and Pat's just jabbering on, and Snoop's like his little brother just sitting there. So I think, yeah. And Snoop actually said it, I think, that they fell out because of that in Tupac's last days and didn't actually make up or anything. But Yeah. Back to Trevon, you know, said that's the guy who jumped me at the Foot Locker. Tupac being loyal to his guy team. Whether he was MLB, he wasn't MLB. He was affiliated, but that's different. He weren't a mob pyro. He weren't on the streets doing drive-bys. So he weren't a full-fledged mob pyro member. Basically, he was just affiliated with him because he was very close to Shug and close to his mob pyro friends. So like he was affiliated, you know, with like Stretch or Big Syke, who were like, Big Syke was a Crip. So, you know, and he was affiliated with Snoop, who were Crips. So it was just Tupac was just loyal to who he was with. So, but really, I think, man, Tupac's the rapper, man. It's just stupid to let him get into that situation where you're gonna have to hit a real gang member, Orlando Anderson, who has done a couple of fucking murders. He's shot at police. He's already got cases for murders that he's committed. This guy is no fucking joke. This guy is a real fucking killer. And Tupac made the biggest mistake that he could ever make, in my opinion. And that hits him, and then everyone joins in and boots him. Boots on him, and the conspiracy theories I don't believe in. Everyone else can still believe in that bullshit, but I just think, no, just leave it alone. It's bullshit, man. All I can say is, whether Puffy had anything to do with it, according to Keefy D, Zit was there, and he said, they just jumped my nephew Lane. And Zit's allegedly with the rapper Foxy Brown, and says, why don't you handle that other shit that Puffy's talking about, that $1 million? Keefy's like, oh yeah, we handle that shit as well, but they're pissed off anyway because they've just jumped Orlando Anderson, and Orlando Anderson's a well-respected guy. Keefy D's nephew, a straight killer. He's not going to go back to Compton, and you know, in that world, he's gonna, you know, he's not going to accept going back to Compton where he's from, saying that he got jumped by a rapper. You know, Tupac is a rapper. You know, so Orlando's not gonna have that. Orlando's like, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy. You know, Orlando's no joke. These are straight Crips. He's not a rap. They're not rappers. These are Crips. There's nothing to do with rap. This live and die. It's like a fucking religion to them. So when people do this fucking sea walking and wear these Crip things, it's like, really, these people that are actually Crips and Bloods, actually, it's a religion to them. They live and die by that. That is them. They live and die by that.